Hello and welcome back to Gooner Gathering. My name is Posh Bertie, the poshest man in all of sports entertainment. Joining me as ever is Gooner Gathering's founding father, Mr. Gooner Lee Meads. Lee Meadows, how are you today?
Hello, sir. I am grand. Thank you very much. Yes, that's all good here, mate. All good here. It's been a very busy day in the day job, but it's been all right, and we definitely haven't had any technical difficulties to start the day with here. Everything's going as smooth as. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Excellent. We've got some name in the chat already. Emmerich Andre says, hello, sir. Good to see you. So obviously, today we will be talking about a very, well, every game is important for us now, but it's an important
Only
game.
3 left.
I know. 3 to go. Coming up against Bournemouth, which is at the 12:30 kickoff. I don't think we'll be providing a watch-along for that game, but I know you'll be covering Man City and Wolves. Well, you think you will tomorrow.
As long as I'm home in time from work, yes, I will certainly try and give that to the people. And anyone's more than welcome to join me if you want to do that with me. You're absolutely more than welcome to. I need someone to keep me straight and narrow and make the technical stuff work. So,
okay, well,
we'll see how it goes, mate.
With a Emmerich Andre says, do you guys think there's a possibility to win the league? To be honest, only if Man City drop points, in my view. So,
but
yeah.
The question was the possibility. Yes, there's a possibility because we've got 3 games, and if we win 3 games, that's all we can do. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Premier League's odd, isn't it? We see strange things happen all the time. All we can do is win our game and then see how Man City respond to Wolves. And do you know what? After the week that's been, what the hell was that?
Shopping.
Big old rucksack just made a timber on the floor. How timber? How funny, right? So as I was saying, so yeah, and we had Chelsea versus Tottenham last night, and I was maybe the optimistic one, thinking, maybe Tottenham could win and keep their interest going, and then when Tottenham play Manchester City in the week, maybe they can be the ones to take the points off City. You know what? After saying that, yes, probably more likely Wolves do it, to be honest. And that's credit to Wolves because how well they did against us the other week.
Yeah, and look, a lot can happen. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's a case of what if, really. So we've got we're at home to Bournemouth tomorrow, and the last time we were at home to Bournemouth, to say it was quite an interesting fixture would be an understatement, won't it? I remember I was at the mighty Ebbsfleet, and yep. I think it was the only match where Arsenal, where a goal was scored in a game elsewhere, both before and after the Ebbsfleet game took place. When the moment the whistle was about to go for kickoff, I get a notification on BBC Sports saying goal, Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 1. And then as we were leaving after full time, I get a notification saying goal, Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 2. So yeah, it's strange. Do you remember that fixture, and how stressed were you back then?
I've never worried, mate. I told you that. And if you want clarification, just go back to WhatsApp, mate.
Yeah.
Even when that's how bizarre football is, isn't it? Yeah. I remember we made some terrible decisions and errors in that game last season, didn't we? And I don't think Ramsdale covered himself in an awful lot of glory that day, but what it was a hell of a game to remember, and you certainly you look back and it's one of the, we had to win it. We absolutely had to win it to keep everything going, and credit to him for doing the John Cena and never giving up, and up to the plate came, Reece Nelson, and who knew, like 12 months down the line, that he might have signed for Real Madrid afterwards.
Well, that's for Football Manager
fans.
Go and the Football Manager series is going strong. We did an episode yesterday, and that was very good. Please go and check that out. It's always entertaining. BX is in the chat. Hello, BX. Good to see you.
Good to see you, mate.
We were just talking about the last time we played Bournemouth.
The last time we played Bournemouth at the Emirates.
This was what you sent me. Hope you can hear this. This was what you sent me the moment Reece Nelson's goal went in.
Never in doubt.
You said never in doubt.
Oh, didn't I? It's one of my catchphrases. I mean, about 30 seconds before that, I may or may not have been jumping around this very living room like a loon.
I don't blame you for that. Well, let's just hope
would have been a good video, that.
Yeah. Obviously, we do need a win, but hopefully it could be a more comfortable win. How do you see? How do you feel going into this game?
Confident, always. What I don't want to do is have another heart attack in front of the television like last weekend's games. It's very hard for a 65-year-old to catch up with. Keep up with it like this. It's very, very difficult. Yeah, that I'm getting too old for this live coverage. No, I'm not. No, not at all. No. What am I going
to gain control of the channel now? Then is that what it is?
You're going to create your own creation.
Yes, there we go.
What I want to say is improvements from us making a pretty decent, if nothing else, just a steady, just keep it easy for 10 minutes or something. That'd be great. And go hit the top speed, hit a few goals in. Give City something to respond to later in the afternoon. What I want to see is a few less mistakes. I don't want to see any silliness. I don't want to see any silly back passes, because we know what happened last time.
I just feel like, obviously on paper you'd expect us to comfortably beat them, but you never know with football, and sometimes you never know with Arsenal. It just feels like one of the games where all of a sudden, this is a bit of a shock result. I am confident that we can get the 3 points, but I think it won't be as easy as you may think.
I agree. I agree with completely with you. Premier League's never easy. I mean, as you quite rightly said last time we spoke, I think, unless you play Sheffield United. But it's home crowd, full house, with a chance to go temporarily 4 points clear. We're coming into the last few games. It's got to be done, isn't it? And another reason for us to feel quite confident about the whole thing is the amount of players that we've got available.
Yes, you said me something about the potential of Jurriën Timber being fully fit and ready to partake in this match, probably on the bench. And as Ross Morgan says, DX, break it down, as response for BX there. I don't know that, but yeah, there we go.
He's got 3 words for us. Come on, Arsenal.
2 words. Please subscribe. But yeah, what was I going to...
we were talking about Timber being available in the squad and so on.
Yes. Can you see that happening, or do you think it's a bit of a false dawn?
Right. So, having done my homework as I normally do on this channel, I have had a quick look over, and I know for certain that Timber is not involved in the under-21 game that's going on at Boreham Wood. Yeah, remember Boreham Wood, Posh? That's going on against Manchester United this evening, and Timber is not involved. So, suggest to me he is going to be amongst the first team squad. I would say a heck of a boost to have Timber involved in the first team. I don't think for a minute he's going to get any significant match time at all. But he might get a cameo. It depends how the game goes, doesn't it? I mean, and with Timber's versatility as well, we know he's capable of playing both left and right. Okay, we've seen him when in his short few games that we've seen him. Seen him play mostly on the left, but if he's capable of hitting both positions, I can see him definitely amongst the substitutes. That's for sure.
Yeah, very much so. And they're just recreating the New Age Outlaws. Oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody. And we might have to call Yuri and Timber when he comes off the bench, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Let's bring it up to speed. It's Regeneration X, isn't it? I think that's what they're calling it these days, isn't it? Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
Yes.
Sorry,
DIY.
sorry, non-wrestling fans. Anyway, get control of it, Posh. Come on, sort it out.
Yeah, I'm the one that's meant to. I'm the one that's got decent discipline. Apparently, this isn't a Wrestle Dork stream where you're all over the place. And subscribe to our friends, by the way; they're good people. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Timber makes an appearance. I've always said, look, it's better to monitor his fitness very closely when it's an ACL injury. But if he's like properly ready to go, then that's always encouraging. We just got to make sure that we monitor his. Posh Bertie would like a bit of ECW. Well, I'm afraid the only ECW that I saw in my life was the bad one in WWE when Ezekiel Jackson was the champion. But if only I was around. If I was around a little bit longer to see the action in Philadelphia, then maybe yes. But anyway,
different age, mate. It's a different age entirely. That.
So. When it comes to the Bournemouth game, what we've talked about Timber, what do you think about the team lineup going into it? Do you expect any potential changes, or do you think that we're going to go with the exact same as we did against Spurs?
Absolutely identical lineup from the one that played Spurs, the lineup that played Chelsea. Absolutely. The only change I can see happening is potentially a change on the benchman where Timber's going to take someone's seat. I'm not sure who yet. Perhaps Kivior, maybe. Please don't mess around with the audio. I've had enough stress today, mate.
No. It's I was whispering Eddie.
Take Eddie's spot. Well, take an attacking option out for a full potentially a defender stroke fullback.
I mean, I'd rather play Timber up front than Eddie Nketiah, but you know,
don't be flipping daft. But that's the only thing I can say that we've. If you look at the scheduling, look, we go Bournemouth. I think next weekend it's Manchester United, Old Trafford. Weekend after that, on May 19th, is the end of the season. The Everton game. So yeah, no need to change it. It sounds like everyone's available. So yeah, keep it going.
Are you not just concerned that Arteta's just going to overthink things and think, oh, it's only Bournemouth, I can make a couple of these changes?
He won't do that. There we go. I've clipped that. So he won't make any changes. I can't see it at all. There's absolutely no reason to.
I hope
just
so.
Just give me a reason. Just a little bit would be enough.
Ross Morgan says, I'd prefer if Timber didn't play for the rest of the season. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Monitor his fitness quite closely. BX thinks Kivior plays. I can see it. I can see him starting Kivior and Jorginho or people like that. I really can. Because he'll just think, oh, it's only Bournemouth. And he'll just go and make these changes.
What are you thinking? I'd like to know where BX thinks Kivior's going to play. Are you thinking him going into left back? Is that?
I think so. Yeah, that's if he is going to play, that's probably realistically where Arteta will start him.
So, I really don't see it. Tomiyasu's. We can't ego. This is probably the best way to look at it. And I know Mikel's watching. We cannot afford to be making changes and taking people lightly. This is Premier League. With 3 games to go, we're still fighting for this title, right? So, but you quite rightly said, we can't take them lightly. They've made, I believe they won their last game. Now, I was going to be
their last 2, I think.
They won their last 2. There you go. So we know it's not going to be a walk in the park. I'd settle for a nice, easy 1-0 win, to be honest. That do. Ultimately, picking up the 3 points is what we need to do. Any suggestion that we're going to take away that lineup? Look, if Partey's fit, which we think he is, because Arteta has just said that whether he might be being smart or not, I don't know. I'm not that clever. I'm not there on the training ground seeing what's going on, right? But if Tomiyasu's fit, if Partey's fit, I didn't think I'd be saying this, by the way. If Partey's fit, yeah, he'd be playing because he's got no reason to be dropped at all. That little bit of defensive solidarity with Rice in the middle, Ødegaard doing his stuff going forward, fantastic. That works for me just nice.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And AFC always joins us. He says, "Why fix it if it's not broken?" I completely agree. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. He says hello to us. Happy Friday. Good to see you, AFC always in the chat. BX Gunner says, I think Kivior will play at left back with Tomiyasu playing against United. I do see where he's coming from, but if Tomiyasu's fit, I'd start him because any game's going to be tough. You've got to have your strongest 11 in these when you got 3 games to go and you're fighting for the title. Mahir Topal says hello. AFC always predicts Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 0, and you know what? That's going to be my prediction too. I do think we'll, if everything goes right, if he picks the right lineup, I think 3-0 might be a decent result.
I'm going to do a slight variation on it, and I'm going to say there's a 1 in there for Bournemouth somewhere.
You think so? You think Solanke's going to?
Because he's a good player. He's a good player. There's plenty of pace around that Bournemouth attack as well. So just you know we're gonna make it a little bit stressful just for a little bit, aren't we? So just to make it interesting. Got to do it for the TV company.
But I think Raya needs a clean sheet because I think his Golden Glove accomplishments isn't done yet, from what I'm hearing. I think Jordan Pickford is like 2 clean sheets ahead of him, behind him. Sorry,
behind him. Yeah, just watching Pickford in action now. Actually, Everton against Luton Town this evening.
BX Gunner says 3 points is all that matters. I don't care if we win, pretty or ugly, get the job done. At this stage of the season, I completely agree with you. You've got to win these games, be in contention for the title, and just hoping City drop points somewhere down the line, which, will it happen? I don't know. Mile High Hotspur is in the chat saying, yo, prime time. Hope you guys are well. Huge respect for both of you. Fair play for turning up after your defeat. But yeah, fair play to you. Always good to see you.
Before we go on there, if you haven't seen the vlog that he's done for the game at White Hart Lane, it's amazing. It's so good. The video is so good. And you can see emotion, you can see everything that you want. For going up to see a massive game like that at the Lane, fair play, mate. And it's a great video. And we really appreciate your shouting out to us at the end of the video as well. And I'm sure Josh does as well. True Gooner, of course. And it's brilliant to see you again, mate. Thank you.
He's also going for 4-1 to Arsenal. That'll be a nice result. You think that's a shocking prediction? Look what Mahir is saying.
Come on, 7 or 70.
I believe that's 7-0, but 70 would be all right. Getting 70 goals, that'd be nice. It'd be good for the old goal difference.
So if you're wondering why my jaw's just gone like this and went. So do you remember that minute a minute ago when I said that Arsenal's Academy are playing Manchester United tonight? Would you like me to tell you what the score is?
Yes.
It's 5-0 to Arsenal.
Is
Nawari scored a penalty just a minute ago. And
Okay.
our best mention Koza Dubry as well, because he's on the score sheet as well. If Emerson is about, a brace for Butler Ojay as well. I think that's how you say his name.
Mm.
It's a really good. So I believe because the way the academy football's going, it's in sort of a playoff situation here now in terms of dealing with promotions, etc.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to start this off. I tell you what, for the for the start for the academy and getting them promotion to I think it's Premier League One. I think it is because they're in PL2 at the moment in the academy. Quick look in Luton Town versus Everton. VAR check for a penalty. Foul on Braithwaite, I think. If you wanted to stick with you for just a second, referee points to the spot.
Penalty to Everton.
Penalty for Everton. A bit of grappling on the big defender Braithwaite, who's been excellent this season. He was on the score sheet last week, of course. And for Everton, it is going to be the number 9, isn't it? It's Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think. No, he's given the ball. He's given the ball to Ashley Young. Right.
Anyway, Gunner's Goat, good to see you, says he thinks 2-0. 2-0 to Arsenal against Bournemouth. BX Gunner, who's probably watching the game, says clear pen. He had him in a bear hug.
Yeah,
so there
absolutely.
we go. A bit of wrestling going on. You love to see it.
Okay, so Young's given the ball back to Calvert-Lewin, so they're messing about a bit.
They're doing a Chelsea.
They are, but they're not fighting amongst themselves.
No.
Calvert-Lewin has scored 4 of his last 5 spot kicks for Everton. I'll do the play-by-play just for a minute, and then we'll get back into it. Of course, Everton have already survived. This is big for Luton, of course, who's still fighting for the relegation places. Ball is spotted. Referee's telling him to get out the box. And here he goes. And penalty scored. Goalkeeper's gone the wrong way. It's a penalty down the middle. 1-0 to Everton after 24 minutes.
So bad news for Luton, who are trying to survive in the Premier League, and it's kind of bad news for me because I want Luton to score. So David Raya secures the Golden Glove.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Penalty went right down the middle. Goalkeeper dived to his right, and Calvert-Lewin beat him all ends up 1-0. Very, very good. Right, so where were we?
AFC says, I can see Timber being in the squad, but I would not risk playing him. Yeah, I think he'll be on the bench, but it's like I've always said, when you've got an ACL injury, unless he's fully ready to go, it's just best to try and...
So, yeah, he had 70 minutes in the under-21s the other day. He played 45 minutes last weekend on the Monday against Blackburn Rovers at Ewood Park. So they're bringing him back slowly. I believe they may have been a behind the closed doors training game as well. So that they know they've had plenty of experience in dealing with these ACLs, particularly with the women's side. Because bear in mind, they've just had 4 or 5 on the spin pretty much. And Miedemar, Beth Mead, Leah Williamson.
Yeah.
And there's a couple more. So yeah, they know how to manage it, and they know what's going on. We're not privy to seeing what's going on in the training park. So, but like you say, I agree. I think he's going to be on the bench definitely, and maybe it's a break glass if emergency coming into play, perhaps. But
yes, like the Giroud panic button on Football Manager.
Yes,
but
precisely. It's exactly like that.
We're not medical experts and we're not medical bills either.
No.
BX Gunner says if Dominic Calvert-Lewin wasn't so injury prone, he'd be very good. Fair enough.
Yeah,
he was very good a few years ago, and then he got injured a lot, and then he's been a bit hit and miss since.
It's been a recurring theme for him, isn't it? He's had injury after injury, and he was linked with Arsenal, wasn't he? a couple of January windows ago. Not this season, the season before, wasn't he? So, but yeah, we'll see. Still quite relatively young, isn't he? Still, I think he's got plenty of legs in him.
You'll like this in the chats from AFC Always. Happy heavenly birthday, David Rocky Rocastle. He would have been.
I saw that tweeted earlier on today.
What a footballer he was!
What a man!
I mean, the floor is yours. I know you love David Rocky Rocastle. Do you want anything to say regarding that and how much of a great footballer he was?
It's not just a great footballer; it's the way he resonated with the crowd. He was a local lad. I mean, you know, maybe the Hale Lane boys thing gets talked about too much these days, perhaps. But he just understood it. He knew everything about it, and the relationship he had. You could see how close he was with Brighty in particular. That sort of generations that when I started watching, or just before when I started watching. And you get to learn all the history very quickly. He scored some spectacular goals, a complete midfield player, wonderful player. And not just that, he was a daddy and he was a husband and had family members and stuff. And he was taken away from us. I think he was only 31 years old. It's dreadful. And it's beautifully put from AFC Always. And I saw him tweet earlier on that. Check out the video clips on YouTube about Rocky Rocastle if you're too young to know or have seen any of it, because there's some really nice goals in that lot, particularly a great lob I remember against Schmeichel, actually, against Man United. It's definitely worth looking for.
Fair enough. Gracie May is in the chat. Nice to see you.
Hey, Gracie. It's great to see you.
It's very good to see you. Russ Morgan says, I'd sign Ollie Watkins. That would be a very decent option. I said beforehand, look, it's between the choice of three for me, Tony, Watkins and Isak. And AFC Away...
three, I've got to carry on with your comment there. With the Watkins one, I like him a lot, and I do. I don't see Villa wanting to sell him at all. Why would they? Because they're trying to build themselves to get up into that, the Champions League spots, aren't they? The one I do see happening potentially, we've spoken about Tony, and that's a distinct possibility. We know Newcastle's situation with financial fair play a bit as well, and the Isaac one I think might happen. We'll see. We are talking a little bit ahead of ourselves though, because once the window opens, and we'll see what happens. We'll talk a little bit more on transfers in a wee bit, if you like, mate, because we might be wanting to talk about perhaps outs as well after what was mentioned in the press conference today.
There is another potential outside chance of a striker option that I want to discuss with you, because we briefly talked about it very briefly in the last video, but I don't think I gave it a proper conversation. But we'll do that in a minute. Let me just go through the chat's going wild. It's running wild, brother. So let's go through it.
Yes.
Apparently, the new Arsenal away kit for next season is something to do with Rocastle and Wright.
Yeah, I've seen some
been a few leaks with the away kit, but
I've seen that. I've seen that. It's a nice touch, to be fair. There's Pickford's clean sheet gone.
Oh, 1-1.
I might be jumping in too early. I just saw the ball crash in the net. I will look at it again. Ashley Young's screaming, so obviously it's going to go VAR to check on our side. But am I going to be able to call who's the scorer here? Probably not. In all fairness.
BX Gunner says we're looking close to Bruno Guimaraes, and I had a look at this person, Joshua Zirkzee, who is a Dutch footballer who plays for Serie A Bologna. I'll be honest, I know nothing about the latter option. So yeah, Adebayo was the scorer.
I couldn't even hear you say it, to be honest. So good effort though. Adebayo. Is that it?
He was the scorer.
That might be the scorer for Luton. Yeah. It looks good as well. I think it's goal given. Oh, that's good news for David Raya, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not
well,
good for my fantasy football side, though. Guess who brought Pickford in today? Never mind.
Oh yes, this is of course, Arsenal will pay tribute to 14-year-old Daniel Anigion before the game tomorrow. Absolutely, I don't want to go into all the very serious aspects of it, but of course, it's a very touching tribute. I believe there's going to be a 14-minute applause or something like that during the game, which I think
it's a nice touch.
Very nice touch, yeah.
Just
So
thoughts with his family as well. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of everything. I'm aware of bits of this story, so I won't go into too much of it. But yeah, that's it's a class act from Arsenal to do something to remember the young man for it. So yeah.
BX Gunner says he's not bad at Adebayo. Yeah, he's a decent player as well as Forest striker and Wai. Well,
he's a nuisance, that fella. And yeah, I know that every time I've seen him for Forest, he's been an old
scores against us
throwback. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's Sambi Lukonga with the assist.
Well, grab two of each animal and head for the border. The end is nigh, ladies and gentlemen.
Good God, that's a name I haven't mentioned in a long time, isn't it?
He's still with us.
Technically, yes, he is.
On loan. God. Another player that we need to offload a lot of players, obviously. But obviously, there's all this talk about Arsenal being in the market for a striker, which is very good because we need one. Havertz is not a 20-plus goal striker, even though he's done well as of late in the striker position. He's not going to be 20-plus goals. We need someone like that. This isn't an out-and-out rumour. This is just internet gossip and speculation. But one of the names being thrown about is Marcus Rashford from Man United. And people are saying, oh, Arsenal saved Havertz as a striker. Imagine what we can do with Rashford. Now, my response to this was, we're not a rehab institute. We are a football club. We can't talk about saving players and, unlocking them. We can go with greatest respect to Rashford, because I think there is a player in there and I think he can score a lot of goals, but he's not going to be someone that's going to get you 20, 22 plus goals a season for us. And he's more of a winger nowadays than a striker. But I think we can aim higher and get someone like Tony or Isak. What say you? What do you think of the potential prospect of Marcus Rashford going to Arsenal?
Sounds like a non-starter to me, mate. Honestly, look, I agree with some of what you said there. There is definitely a player there. I remember distinctly saying, "Who the heck's this kid who's scoring on debut?" Oh, yeah, of course it is. It's against us. Of course it is.
Yeah.
This is like maybe a couple of weeks after school. The kid scored in Europe,
in the Europa League, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But he's had an awful lot of injuries. He's had a lot of stuff to deal with, a lot of stuff non-football to deal with as well. And yeah, it's a soft no for me. Look, if it happens and if Arteta wants to go for it, yeah, okay. But on the back of something that was said earlier on today, so you'd think there'd be some movement in some department for us to upgrade, if you want to call it upgrade, or bring another forward in, right? So by the sounds of it, Gabby Jesus isn't going anywhere, because again, he might be just doing the old bluff here and saying, I don't know where these rumours about Jesus leaving have come from. But so you would have thought if there was a striker to leave, I'm going to say it, and with a tear in my eye, it might be Nketiah to go. And again, as we spoke about earlier in the week, for his career and what he wants to achieve in football, probably a decent shout for him. I often hear the likes of Crystal Palace and West Ham in that sort of territory for Nketiah. And if he does, he might even end up being one of their top men over there. But it's one of them risks that you have to take for us to maybe go forward, like you mentioned.
AFC always says Rashford would not start over Martinelli or Saka. I think in the unlikely event if he did sign, he'd be playing as a striker. So I don't think they'd have to worry about that. BX Gunner says Havertz could hit 20 next season after settling in. All right, calm down.
Do you know what? Why not? Why not? He might be one of them confidence players he's needed. He needed some backing, and that seems what he's got of Mikel. Whether you want to laugh and joke about it or not, the facts don't lie, and they spell disaster for anyone going against Havertz.
At the moment, yes. He's done better up front than he has in midfield, definitely.
It's been brilliant.
I'm not sure about him getting 20 goals a season.
I mean, he might get 7 tomorrow, so...
Yeah, 7-0. BX also says, for me, the Tony boat has sailed. I kind of agree. As much as I'd like him at Arsenal, I think he'd suit us very well. I think we've not heard these rumours for a while, and
maybe.
AFC always says, I think Elise would be an excellent backup for Saka.
The Crystal Palace player. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, good shout. Really good shout. Again, or even his teammate at Palace as well, Eze, I really like as well. But then we're cherry picking players here, aren't we? You know.
Well, we'll be cherry picking tomorrow, won't we? When we face
you got me. You got the joke. Well done.
And
good lads.
It's funny we should mention Rashford, because I think that a backup for Saka, as Ross Morgan says, he says Jadon Sancho has found his mojo. We don't get hyped, we stay hyped. He's found his mojo at Dortmund. I think United would be up for a quick sale. I think, from what I've heard, Sancho has done very well at Dortmund. Yeah. I know I said that we're not a rehab institute, but there is definitely a player in Sancho. We've seen that at Dortmund.
I remember saying that about almost 12 months ago when we were playing them in their pre-season. Yeah, you're right. There is a player there.
What do you think about Jadon Sancho as potentially the backup for Saka? Would you take him at Arsenal?
I think he's staying at Man United, is what I'm thinking.
If Ten Hag goes, anyway.
Yeah, that's what I think, because there is a player there. He might have had a bit of a personal issue with Ten Hag, and I think they paid an awful lot of money for him, and I do think they want to give it another try. But good for him for getting his the word is excellent mojo, getting his form back. And you know, he was really good the other day in the Champions League, from what I understand. So
it's funny. He was phased out of the Man United squad, and his punishment is to win the Champions League. How could they? BX Gunner says I'd go for Rafinha or the player from Georgia whose name I can't pronounce, from Napoli.
Rafinha, I'm familiar with. Yeah, Rafinha over at Barcelona now, isn't he? Former Leeds man, right?
We've been linked with him for about a million years. So it's the same with Wilfred Zaha. We're always linked with him, but it never happens.
Good old Wilf. Sorry. I can't do the impression anymore. He's gone, isn't he? For Roy.
Yeah.
He's not dead. No.
I think, Rafinha will be a good player. And also the player from Georgia is very good as well.
I'm not familiar with him.
He's probably plays for Napoli.
Kostelotzovi. That's his name, isn't it?
AFC always says, Eze is a baller. I'll be shocked if nobody goes for those two players in the summer. I'll be honest,
thumbs up on that.
I can see those two. I can see both of them leaving Crystal Palace, especially if the unlikely event they get relegated. I think they're all right, but I think
Palace are all right. They're safe.
Yeah,
I don't think they've been beaten in a month, I believe. So I've got a mate of mine who's a Palace fan. I think we spoke before. We're talking with it's 3 from. So obviously Sheffield United are down. It's 3 of Luton. Who's the other one? It's just outside Forest.
Burnley.
And Burnley. There you go. It's 2 of 3. Them 3. So yes, they are safe. But like you said, in the words of Ted DiBiase, everybody's got a price.
Yes. I was gonna. We were gonna be in a likely situation. Well, it's unlikely now, but we were close to being in a situation where the 3 promoted clubs will all go down at the same time, and coming back up will be the 3 clubs that were relegated last season. But with Ipswich coming up, I think that might be unlikely.
Big shout out to my friend Jovi, who's a massive Ipswich fan, and we were talking Ipswich earlier on. And he's a very excited young man at the moment, and I wish them all the best tomorrow. I believe they're playing Huddersfield, if I'm not mistaken. I think they need a point. Potentially, they might not even need a point to do it. So I'll say good luck to him.
I think it's a case of all but promoted. Ross Morgan says Barca looking to sell Pedri. I think we need a midfielder a bit more. We need a bit more physicality in the midfield, I think, especially if Partey might go. I don't agree with Partey going, but I think we need a bit more as someone whose name I can't remember would say, we need some beef in the midfield there. And Coach's Corner saying, yes, guys. Hello, Coach's Corner. Good to see you. Lee's camera has gone off. I don't know if he's still there.
I am still here, mate. I'm in the private chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we won't keep you for long, but quick prediction for the Arsenal-Bournemouth game?
I said it already. 3-1 to Arsenal.
All right. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I think that's it.
Do you want to just cover briefly the young man that we spoke about who's been scoring goals for fun in the under-21s? Who's
Amari, yes.
Yeah, and he's in a very similar situation to Ethan Nwari that I think we found ourselves in last season now. A lot of press talk, I think, heard more than anything about him being linked, I think, with Copenhagen, if I'm not mistaken. I think he may be of history there. But I really hope that we keep hold of him, because if we are going to offload a striker like a Nketiah, and I'm not saying the kid's got to come straight in, I'm not saying that, but it's rare to see figures like we've seen in the academy, like with goals going in from someone like that. You really don't want to be letting someone like that go, especially in the market as is, where getting an out-and-out goal machine is exceedingly difficult. I mean, we look at some of the names that we've been linked with and not been able to get hold of over the last few years. That natural goal scorer thing, it's very rare, you know. We're looking at players that are more like forwards, like pacey forwards, almost like wingers, and players like Kai, pretty for me, a real like throwback to of a different generation, like an Alan Shearer or an Andy Cole, or someone big in the penalty area, like a Peter Crouch is a good example. Actually, that's an excellent example. They're quite similar in style. Where it's almost a type of footballer that's almost feels like being phased out a little bit. But I hope we will hear more from the academy, and maybe Pierre Mertesacker, as the academy manager, might be able to sort it out. But they won't be able to do anything until I believe he can sign that professional contract, which I believe Emerson Cozier said that it would be in something like November. So just want to keep an eye on it. Might not be something that the club can do much about. But I think that is pretty much all we need to say today. Other than
you were comparing Kai Havertz to Peter Crouch, weren't you? Well,
Yeah.
if all we need now is for Kai Havertz to break out the robot tomorrow, and it'll be set in
Yes.
stone, won't it?
Well, absolutely. So as we sort of are heading towards the exit doors, as it's been a very long day for yours truly, and I need to go and eat my dinner and have an early night because I'm up early again in the morning. It takes me a long time to look like this at this time of night.
You're a workhorse. It's all right.
I am. I'm Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels rolled into one. I really am. I'm just a sexy hitman.
Lee Meadows screwed Lee Meadows.
But less said about the battle. Anyway, well, I think all we need to say is, look, yes, hopefully we can get Manchester City against Wolves live tomorrow. Doesn't sound like we can do Bournemouth or Arsenal Bournemouth, but anyone doing a gathering team wants to have a little bit of a watch along situation with me tomorrow, we'll do that. I think on Sunday, coming out of our channel, I think I'm going to put a report out from Manchester City versus Arsenal rather than do the whole match situation, just to give the old fella a bit of a break, really, to be honest. I mean, whatever happens, it might not be good, because if Arsenal win, we might be doing Emma Hayes a favour over at Chelsea in the unlikelihood of them winning the title. And if Man City win, we're going to lose, aren't we? So that's not good. But here we go. WSL season's closing up as well. Extraordinary game if you haven't seen it already. Liverpool versus Chelsea last night. My goodness me.
I heard about it.
Mad game. And yes. Yeah, go ahead. Go on. I'm done, mate. I'm
done. Russ Morgan says, Party, I'm afraid, is done. We can't rely on his fitness. So when I say I want to keep him, I don't mean I don't think he'll be a proper out-and-out first-team player much, but I do think he can have a good be a good asset to the squad as a backup player, because he's going to be 31 next year. You know, he's not exactly the paciest, but he brings more physicality. So I think he will be needed in the squad as maybe a backup if we are looking for a new midfielder. We just need a bit more physicality in the midfield. What say you, Lee?
Yeah, I get that point, and yeah, I wasn't convinced about Partey getting back into the lineup at all, but yeah, I get that point. Maybe he has a point. I think it's worth just keeping an eye on where he does, because I certainly see him playing tomorrow for a start. You want to talk about the midfield a little bit? It's probably worth pointing out that sounds like the contract offer for Jorginho's not been signed, but I think Arteta wants it to be signed. Jorginho,
it's all but done, really, isn't it?
Jorginho has played 35 games for Arsenal this season. Who would have thought
that? I think he's not going to be. Obviously, he's not going to be in the midfield forever. He's going to be pretty much a squad player, really, if we're looking to bolster our midfield. But he's definitely someone that's needed to bring a bit more composure, because that's what he's good at.
Yeah, a leader with a bit of experience and older legs to maybe shore things up when things get a little bit difficult at the end of the games. For example, like at White Hart Lane.
AFC always says, "What time is kickoff tomorrow? I've got to take my daughter to the hairdressers at 12:45. It's 12:30, my friend. So you can catch the first 15 minutes. I've got to go. I've got to get my hair cut on Sunday, actually. So if you're doing anything on Sunday, I won't be available for it.
That's fine, mate. That's fine. Not a problem at all. But so yeah, we sort of covered what we're going to do for the rest of the week. I might even have a look through the Football Manager stream and might throw a short up here or there somewhere. There's some good ones on there. Maybe before we kick off tomorrow if I can.
There will be next week. There'll be a Football Manager stream or two, definitely. What's happened there?
Oh, Luton coming very, very close in last seconds of the first half. Ball very much floating around Pickford's penalty area. Came very close to going in, but it's still 1-1.
right. Well, yeah. The FM streams have been going very well. It's been proving to be very popular, and I'm pleased that everyone enjoys it. I'm enjoying it as well, mainly because we're doing very well in my save. Anyway, I think that should be it. You can follow me on Twitter at PoshBertie. My Instagram is at BertieWanless. I also run the Gooner Gathering Instagram account, which is, of course, at Gooner Gathering. Do not follow me in real life, though, because that's a little bit weird. Lee, where can they find you?
They can find me at a very popular supermarket. They can also find me at Goonerly Mead. You can find all of us on the channel at Gooner Gathering. Also, check us out on the TikTok channel, which some of my favourite things that I do on this channel after doing the live matches is just go through it and edit it and put the fun clips together of us reacting to the goals, etc. And more often than that, and than not, we find it with a wrestling reference in there, or one or two. For some reason, I'm not sure. As we are closing up again, one more shout out to Sam Wilson and Cole and everyone else over at Wrestle Dogs. Give them a subscribe on YouTube, please. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's been a good stream, guys. And
played...
great job from my presenter for the evening, the host with the most, Posh Bertie's taking the duties off me today because I didn't have a lot of time on my hands. So thank you very much, mate. You did a great job. Well done.
I played Football Manager with my heel Batman t-shirt on yesterday.
That's all right.
So there we go. Always repping the Wrestle Dogs merch. Anyway, that should do it from us. Very good to see all of you in the chat. It has been a great show. Thank you, AFC, always. Until next time, we'll be with you, well, when maybe a few days after the Bournemouth game. Who knows what our moods will be after that. But I can assure you it'll be a very interesting stream. Take care, guys. We'll see.